Hey, good morning. Oh, I hope you're all well. Just a quickie this week again. I'm doing some more writing at the weekend, so I'm just going to get this quick vlog done for the week. And I want to talk about friendships. Something I don't actually talk about that often. I suppose because living in Australia, we don't have the same friendships that we've had elsewhere. So anyway, um, I spoke to two very important people in my life yesterday, Paul and Mish. Now, I met Paul and Michelle in Spain, and we had what was called at the time. I called it the New Wives Club. Sorry, the No Wives Club. Get it right there, the No Wives Club, and it was a group of us whose partners, husbands, wives, whatever, were not actually with us in Spain. So obviously with me, Daryl was back and forth between Australia and the UK and Spain, and there was Katie, who's I suppose one of my dearest friends from Spain, and her other half Andy was sort of working back in the UK, and there was Paul, and Michelle was also back in the UK. So we were kind of left to our own devices. We were living a single life in Spain, which is quite bizarre because, me and Daryl have been together for many, many years, but we were kind of living this strange single life, which which was bizarre for me. But I relied heavily on people like Katie, Paul, and Michelle, which you do, and the whole expat community. And I had a lot of friends from that period in Spain, loads of them, and keep in contact all the time. From the first person I met, June, to the last people we sort of came into contact with, we were actually still friends with the majority of these people, and obviously Paul, who sadly lost his life a little over a month ago. They were the people that got me through. They were there helping me out, giving me a cigarette when I didn't have one, or buying me a pint of Mao when I didn't have any money. So these were the people there for me. And it's funny because talking to Paul and me, it was kind of reflecting on those times in Glenelg, and I remember one specific occasion where I must have had a conversation with Paul a few days before about the things I missed in the UK, and things like, well, look, I mean, Marmite, prime example. Love Marmite. You could buy it in Spain, but when you're living on €20 a week, €5 for a tiny, tiny pot of Marmite was excessive. Really was excessive. However, it was something that I had to have. So as long as the cats were fed and as long as I had Marmite, life was good. And it was cheap enough to live there anyway. And I must have mentioned Fraser Bentos pies. Now, Fraser Bentos pies for me are a real childhood memory. Would I call it a favourite? Yes, it was a favourite. The time of Fraser Bentos pies and pudding, second kidney pudding, which I love. My grandmother actually used to make the most fantastic second kidney pudding, and I miss that. I'd love to make one. Can't find suet here, but I'm sure you can get it. Um, and Vesta curries, things like that. All of those things, Instant Whip, Angel Delight, um, yeah, Disco Crisps, all of these things. And we must have been discussing this. I think we were probably down the pub in Massa Square, and as I often was with Paul, to be honest, and we just chatting away as you do. And a few days later, he turned up on my doorstep with a Fraser Bentos pie, and which he found in Alicante. I think he probably, because we did have an Iceland actually there, and he must have gone there and he picked one up. And that was Paul. He was in tune with your how can I put it? He was in tune with your wavelength, your way of thinking, the nostalgia that I used to hold for the UK, and he's very empathetic as a person. And if you were upset or down, he was always there. It's like when I had to take Precious, our cat, to get put down. Paul was the one who took me, and I was absolutely in bits, literally in bits. But he was there, and he also cried, and it was those emotions that Paul could just sort of tune into, and he was, he was there through some really, really dark, difficult days, to be honest with you. Because as much as I look back on Spain with fondness and say how much I love it, which I do, there were dark days as well. So I did have some difficulties, like we all do in life. Equally, in the UK, I couldn't even begin to tell you how many friends I have, still have, lots. It was the longest period that me and Daryl lived in the same place. So naturally, we have many, many friends from that time, from different periods of that time, because we'd obviously travelled back and forth during that time to Australia, and we lived up north as well. And we're in contact with the important people, the ones that matter, for sure. And we talk to them all the time. And they're important, more important now than ever. When we lived up north, we didn't make friendships at all. Northerners are they're very much like Australians, and this is why it's important. But they're quite insular. Up there, they were pretty anti-gay, homophobic as well. So, living in a very small, tiny village. We lived in a village called Suf. It was really, really small. And we did have our fair share of grief, in all honesty. So we left there. But I don't have that many great memories of that time, in all honesty. And Australia, equally, we don't have any friendships particularly that we've made in recent times. We have friendships from our past endeavours coming to Australia, and Daryl's friends from school, which are key to our sense of well-being, I suppose. And these are lovely, lovely people who remain in our life, but we haven't made new friendships. And I think that's partly because of age. We're a lot older, so making friendships at our ages is difficult. And partly because Australians are quite standoffish, and they are. I can't say anything else. They tend to make their friends at high school, and they don't deviate from that. So inviting new people in as friends is really, really hard. And I kind of had that. I meet many British people all the time working with the public, and they all say the same thing. It's hard, especially when you come out here at quite a late age, like we are in our 50s. It's really, really difficult to make those lasting bonds. So friendships are really, really important, and they have become more important as I've got older. But the closeness we have is really now through social media or through FaceTime, video calling, etc. We don't really have that one-on-one contact anymore. There's me and Daryl. I have contact with people at work, and he also has contact with the people he works with, but we don't have friendships in that same way, and that kind of makes things difficult. In a way, look, I'm quite a gullible person, so if somebody asks me for my last $10 note, I'll give it to them, and in this way, I keep my wealth, and I'm not giving it away, and I'm not spending money frivolously, especially on other people that probably weren't even friends in the first place. So I've become quite cynical, I think, about friendships in general, and so I am happy in my own company as well. So am I a loner? Yeah, I suppose I am in many ways. I'm quite happy being alone, I can always find something to do. I'm always writing or doing something. I don't get bored at all, and that kind of amazes other people actually. But I'm always busy doing things, lots of things. My mind is constantly racing all the time. I got up this morning. Actually, I was awake at just gone 4 o'clock, and I was messaging a friend Dom back in the UK about the state of my home country, which is apparently falling to bits and on its last legs, according to Dom at least, anyway. And so we're still having that interaction. We're still having that camaraderie together, and we're polar opposites on the political scale. But I can have that conversation with him as much as I can with my father. Now, my father is my father, but he's also my friend. So we have very long conversations about politics, about everything really, our health issues and all the rest of it. I don't have any health issues at the moment. I just sort of let you know. Just the eyes. I've got the specialist appointment coming up soon. That's it. I'm going off the point, but that's what I've got to get sorted out. My nipple problem seems to have dissipated at the moment, and which has given me a new sense of life. I seem to be happier, and I did have an ultrasound booked, but I don't need it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to feed my anxiety any more than it's already fed. Okay, so it's going. So yeah, friendships. Last night, it sort of reinforced my views about how important they are, and as I said to Paul and Michelle, we need to keep in contact more, which we do, and that's the same with absolutely everyone. It really is. We need to be in contact with these people on a more regular basis. I don't like to sort of impose on other people, so I suppose that sort of prevents me from phoning, and it's my own insecurities as well, and I am quite an insecure person, which is another reason I do not phone people off the cuff. I will arrange to speak to them, but otherwise not, because I'm constantly thinking, well, do they really want me to phone? Am I really worthy? And all the rest of it. So it's when you have a kind of low view of yourself, you don't tend to, phone people that often, sadly. But I have to, and I will do, going forward. I hope, we are able to make more friendships here in the future. The people I work with are an amazing bunch, amazing crew, to be honest with you. And whilst it's a very professional relationship, they are also, friends. And if they want advice, they will come to me and they will ask for it. I'm also, because I am their manager, I don't have those personal relationships that they may have with one another. So the interaction, the people interaction, is more than enough for me. That's fine in my time of life, and it matters. I have actually, which is quite sweet, this old gentleman who I met when I was working at the previous place I was working for here, and we kind of formed this friendship. He has a partner. He's a little bit older than me, so he must be sort of 70, he's approaching 70, and his partner is a similar age, and they are a gay couple, and we kind of have this sort of interaction. And I know when I left, he kind of sought me out as such, so he tried to find me, and he realised, or he was told I was working at Bonds, and he now pops in every now and again to say hello and how are you, and it's really lovely. And he's a really lovely person, and not everyone, and don't have a go at me, I'm not slagging off Australians, because I have some wonderful Australians in my life, but as I said, they are a bit standoffish. They're very difficult to get to know, and they're very insular. This older guy is adorable, and he's lovely, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, basically, and we have some wonderful conversations, and he buys stuff as well, so and it's very sweet. and he's a very lovely, genuine, nice person. I need more people like that in my life, I think, for sure. So yeah, friendships important, getting more important as I get older. I need to be more proactive in, seeking out friendships. Well aware of that, and yeah. Once again, thank you for listening to my ramblings. I will continue to ramble until my books are revised, rewritten, and published, and the new one's finished. So watch this space as such. And thanks again for all your messages, all your emails, and all the support you give me, as you have done, no matter where I've lived in the world. Certainly since I've been blogging, and that's, Christ, 11 years now. So thanks for that continued support. It's always welcome. Okay, take care. Ciao.